What's going on? Okay, there we go. Divine Rising. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Rising Rituals with Ray. Today I have something very special that I want to talk about, but first I want to get into the whole purpose. The purpose of me going through these rising rituals is because I want you to go into your day with a certain kind of mindset. I want you to go into your day with a momentum and an energy for success. Whether if it's balancing mind, body, or spirit, all of these things are essential to living a fully fulfilled life. So, today I want to talk about basically stepping into the success mindset. One of the biggest things, there we go. One of the biggest things that I feel like the difference between the successful and people who are failed, I don't want to call them failures, but people who fail, the difference is one distinct factor. Failures, they fall down and they stay down. Successful people, when they fall down, they figure out how to get back up and keep going. So when you are attacking your goals, when you have figured out what your outcome is, and you know where you're going in your life, life is going to throw things at you. The universe is going to throw things at you. How creative and how resourceful are you going to get in this time? And I don't want to get too deep into it, but I'm going through my own thing right now, and it's a perfect learning lesson for me and for me to share with you that be relentless. You got to get back up. So there is a book, actually, it's called Relentless by Tim S. Grover, and y'all know I be reading from my journal. So I wrote this excerpt this rising, and I'd like to read it to you. So, in this book by Tim S. Grover, he talks about relentlessness, the relentlessness of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, and what is the one thing that differs from the rest of the world. What is the one thing that Michael Jordan had that the rest of the world didn't have, or one thing that Kobe Bryant had that the rest of the world did not have? They pushed harder than anyone else. They got up more times than they fell, and they were laser focused on exactly what they wanted, on their outcome. So there was nothing that anyone could say or do to deter them from that outcome. What is that outcome for you? What keeps you going in life when life is throwing you lemons and curveballs, right? We just read, I'm a part of this amazing entrepreneurial group called the Morning Meetup. And in the Morning Meetup, our last book was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And there was a part in the book where Robert Kiyosaki says, turn your lemons into millions. Let that sink in. Turn your lemons into millions. So when life gives you lemons, monetize that thing. You know what I mean? But turn your lemons into millions. Remember your why. Why are you on this path? Why are you on this journey? Why is your outcome so compelling to you? Right? Why are you so passionate about that outcome? Step into that sense of purpose and allow that to drive you towards the end. And then I also wrote here, don't let up until you've hit that outcome and until you've reached your goal. So if you want to become successful, you must become relentless. I absolutely love that. I know I wrote it, but I absolutely love that because it's so important to become relentless towards your goals. We're reading right now in the Morning Meetup, Outwitting the Devil, and one of the things that it talked about was definite of purpose. Become definite in your purpose. Like when you are thrown off path, okay, like for example, you're going to a destination, you put it in your GPS, right? On your way, there's a huge accident and the GPS reroutes you. Do you lose your mind and like, oh, I can't make it to my destination? Absolutely not. You reroute and you go a different way, but you still end up getting there. That is all that adversity and challenges are bringing in your life is a way for you to reroute. Sometimes the direction that you were going in might take you somewhere else, and you only have this much scope, this much vision. It's just like the horses that are walking. You ever see like the Amish people walking with their horses and they got the little blinders on the side? That is your level of vision in comparison to the universe. The universe sees the whole scope of things. The universe is able to see that you can, if you do this, then this and this happens, and then they'll manipulate and move some things around for you to be able to navigate to get to where you want to go, because you might think that this is the right way or that this is the direction I need to go in, but you might not know that there's an accident up the road, right? You don't have that scope of vision, but the universe does. So when adversity is brought to you, just get creative. Tap into that sacral chakra energy, get creative, problem solve, get active, create a little action to drive you closer and closer to your goal, because the universe, and when I say the universe, I also mean like your higher self. Before you came into this physical life, you have created the different tests that you had to pass in order for you to level up in your life, for you to take yourself to that next level. What you have to do is you have to pass your own test. This is a test created by you. Your higher self is like, is she ready? Is he ready? Let's see. Let's throw this out there and see how they handle emotionally. See how they handle it in terms of like their focus. If something gets thrown at you and you change your focus, that means you don't want the outcome bad enough. Stay focused on the outcome. Stay relentless. Become that Kobe Bryant. Become that Michael Jordan. Step into your power and embrace your magnificence, because what you focus on, you create, right? If you're focusing on lack, if you're focusing on fear, if you're focusing on the adversity itself, you become a drifter, as Outwitting the Devil talks about. A drifter is someone who basically loses focus and they are swayed either way. They're impressionable, right? And if you haven't read Outwitting the Devil, that is definitely an amazing book to read. I highly, highly suggest it, because it'll show you the psychology of drifting, the psychology of basically getting off task. When you're off task, and we talked about this the other day, sin is an archery term, and Dr. B. Sirius talks about this all the time. Sin is an archery term, meaning to miss your mark, right? So when you're living in sin, that means you're not living in alignment. When you're not in alignment, that is when adversity shows up. So when you have a physical ailment, when you are experiencing technical difficulties, when you're experiencing resistance of any kind, when you're experiencing lack of abundance, all of these things are signals energetically that you're not in alignment. So I went live the other day on Instagram, I think it was last week actually, on Instagram with Jovan Palmer, and I love his example. He talked about how when he was going through his business, he experienced some roadblocks, and we all do. We all do. That's part of the human experience. But when you're experiencing that resistance, you have to have the wisdom to feel the resistance taking place, that tension, and understand, okay, maybe I need to step back for a second and assess. When you push on something, and I would like to differentiate between being relentless and forcing, right? Being relentless means you get back up. But when you force something, that is something totally different. That is like the GPS trying to tell you to reroute, and then you decide to stay on that path. That is forcing, right? Nah, I'll just stay in traffic, and you end up adding an extra 45 minutes to your trip, right? That is forcing. But you have every opportunity and every ability to shift, adjust, and become flexible in your approach in order to achieve your outcome. So it's important to know the difference between being relentless and forcing and making something happen, right? So when you're experiencing resistance and tension, take a minute, reassess, and reestablish your approach. If you can approach it from a different angle, a different way, then do that, and then row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Life is a dream. You get to create it. Have you ever lucid dreamed before? You get to create what you want in this life. But if you're not in alignment, only things that you're going to create are the frictions and the thoughts that you're focusing on, the lack, the struggle, right? That is what you're going to end up creating. So when you experience that car accident on your journey, know that you have every capability and ability to shift your approach, go around it, right? And then hop back on the freeway a couple miles up the road. Y'all feel me? All right. I have a meeting coming up in about 10 minutes, so I gotta go. But I love y'all. I hope that was a little bit of juice for your rising. Go ahead and take this into your day. While you're experiencing these struggles, while you're experiencing these roadblocks, while life is throwing you them lemons, turn them into millions. Y'all have a beautiful, magical, and manifesting day, and I will come back and talk to y'all tomorrow.